Today we will be rebutting our opponent's argument for ticket scalping. Ticket scalping is the practice of buying tickets to a venue and then reselling them for a profit. Supporters argue that they help fuel the market economy and are protected under property rights. Opponents, however, will argue that they are scamming customers because the prices are often far above their original price range. And the sites like Ticketmaster prevent venues from selling tickets through alternative means because of this is a scam and therefore immoral. Supporters argue that venues lose no money from ticket scalpers because they must still buy the tickets. Venues also make most money from concessions and not tickets. Venues set prices too cheap, and therefore, because of that, venues set their prices too cheap in order for their concessions to make money. Ticket scalping is also protected under property rights. Property rights include possession of the tickets, exclusion, use from others, or transfer.
Opponents of ticket scalping will argue that these tickets are sold for far above original price, essentially ripping off their customers. Only the primary market should determine ticket pricing, not the secondary market. Secondary markets such as Ticketmaster have destroyed all other competition and established a monopoly, resulting in major profit for the secondary market. Venues prefer their prices to be lower to give the impression that their events are affordable to all people. But this impression remains impossible to achieve because the secondary market inflates the prices astronomically.
So our opponents argue that by forbidding reselling of tickets, the companies or venues are messing with the free market, and that supply and demand is what should determine how much the tickets are sold for. In fact, the only messing with the market there is reselling itself. The prices for tickets are set low, as Nico said, so that people will spend money on concessions, which is where most of the venue's revenue comes from. So by selling those tickets for higher, you're taking away the tactic that the venue uses. Next, they argued that it should be price-based and that there's nothing wrong with reselling the tickets at a higher price because then the people that are willing to pay more will be the people that end up buying the tickets. In reality, it should be first come, first serve. It's incredibly less biased. If you think about it, there's somebody who can maybe not buy a ticket and somebody who can just because of their financial situation. Whereas if it's first come, first serve, it's open to anybody. The prices are fair. Next, it is the right of the venue to decide who has the ticket, who sells the ticket, like Nico said, if it's transferable after sale, which is crucial. Our opponents argue that it's the right of whoever owns the ticket, because by owning it, once buying it from the original venue, you should be able to do what you want with it. We would, however, counter that that is not correct at all, and that it should be the person's choice who actually created the item or put it into circulation, whether that price is resold. For example, if you think about Apple, they give their products to tons of other secondary companies like Best Buy or Micro Center, and they set a price. They allow them to sell it for a certain price, no higher, no lower. It's because they made the product and they have the right to set this rule. It's the same exact thing with scalping tickets. They should be entirely allowed to say that there's no one that is allowed to do that besides them. And it is entirely immoral for other people to do that because it is entirely the right of the original venue. Next, our opponents argued that humans are rational thinking beings and they have the right to set prices. I would agree that humans are rationally thinking beings, but I don't think that has anything to do with whether people can scalp tickets or not. Honestly, it's obvious that whoever is selling the ticket is going to make the money off of it. And lastly, they argued that it's not actually hurting the venue to buy the tickets because they're buying for the price that the venue would otherwise sell them at. However, this is in many cases also not true because lots of stadiums offer bulk discounts for schools and churches and things like that, community groups that would get a discount price for buying a lot of tickets. Places like StubHub, Ticketmaster, they take advantage of these bulk discounts, which ultimately ends up decreasing the revenue of the original venue.
Despite the notion that sporting venues don't actually lose money from selling their tickets to the secondary market, resale prices cause prices to go up, which turns away buyers. If experts agree that concession sales make the most money for a venue. Subsequently, if less people show up to an event because of elevated prices, the owner does in fact make less money. Also, the secondary market shouldn't be allowed to set prices because, once again, less people show up, causing overall losses for an owner. Ticket scalping causes major inflation and losses, and is truly a moral act.